A surefire way to lose your fantasy season is by drafting a bust in the first 4 to 5 rounds of your fantasy draft. In today's video, I'm bringing you 5 players that you should avoid. Now I'm going to give you better picks that are later down the board, which is going to help you build a powerhouse squad in 2024. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe. I got a like goal of 100 likes on today's video. With your help, I'm hoping we can get there. Okay, I hate to say it, but you should be avoiding Devon Achane and instead drafting his teammate Raheem Mostert. And this is coming from one of the biggest Devon Achane stands you will find right here. I just cannot understand the community is justifying the difference in price between these two. If you average out Underdog, Sleeper, and ESPN, right now Devon Achane is going early round 3, sometimes even in round 2. Meanwhile, his teammate Raheem Mostert is going in the 8th or 9th round. On average, you have to draft Devon Achane 64 picks before Raheem Mostert, or 5.5 rounds earlier. For myself, when I projected out the Miami Dolphins offense, of course I'm projecting Achane to have a larger workload, but I just don't see how it's worth it. I mean, if you look at last year, Achane versus Mostert, 9 games where Achane was healthy. There's 11 games he played in total. I only looked at the 9 healthy games for him. Touches per game go to Mostert. Yards per game go to Achane. Touchdowns per game to Mostert, and fantasy points per game, it's not that different. Like I said, I think Achane's going to get more and more involved through the air, on the ground. He's such a good player, but I just don't understand the difference in price between these two. And you can't use injury concern as a reason to draft either or. Raheem's dealt with injuries his whole career. Achane's entire rookie season was filled with injuries. Achane is a clear upside play, but I can't understand drafting him 5.5, 6 rounds earlier than Raheem Mostert when Raheem Mostert could outscore him this year. It doesn't make sense to me. I hate that I have to do this, but I think you should avoid Achane and draft Mostert instead. The second player that I think you should avoid, and please, just hear me out. I know this is America's quarterback. We all love him, but I'm not drafting CJ Stroud. He's just way too pricey for me. Instead, I'm drafting Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, or Brock Purdy. These are all pocket passers. They're all going to score fantasy the same way. None of them are going to rush for 1,000 yards or 10 rushing touchdowns. They're all on high-powered offenses with really good weapons. Obviously, CJ has Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Diggs, Mixon, Schultz, but Jordan Love has a great group as well. Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Dobbs, Wicks, Josh Jacobs just joined. Their tight end room is really great. Brock Purdy might have better weapons than CJ Stroud. Ayuk, Debo, CMC. Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. So all of them are going to be in high-powered offenses, and I project all of them to have a similar points per game this year. Last year, CJ Stroud averaged 18.7 points per game. That was 7th amongst quarterbacks. Jordan Love had a better points per game. So did Brock Purdy. And Joe Burrow, while he had a down year because of injuries, he's already had 2 seasons where he scored over 20 points per game. That was in 2022 and 2021. But the biggest difference here, of course, in a vacuum, if you could just choose one of these names, you would choose CJ. But the biggest difference is the price of all of these players. CJ Stroud is a quarterback 5. And if you look at average ADP between these names, CJ is going 23 picks before Joe Burrow, 40 picks before Jordan Love, and 57 picks before Brock Purdy. Again, those guys outscored him last year. CJ Stroud, early round 5 pick. Joe Burrow, round 7. Jordan Love, mid to late round 8. Brock Purdy, late round 9 pick. I just don't think that you should be drafting CJ Stroud that high when he doesn't have that rushing upside to truly be the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. This is not a Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. If you're going to take a guy that high, they need a true outcome as the number 1 quarterback in all of fantasy football. I don't think he has that. Agree to disagree? Let me know what you think in the comments below. You do not need to wait until September to play fantasy football. People are playing in real leagues, drafting for real money right here, right now on UnderdogFantasy.com. If you haven't signed up yet, use the promo code LAND. We will match your deposit 50% all the way up to $250, which means you could get $125 free dollars on us just for using our promo code. But you can get into real leagues, real money, real tournament. And also, if you like player props, they got pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy. You can choose higher, lower on daily fantasy sports or season-long projections like Amari Cooper here or Drake London. How many yards you think they'll have on the year. You can bet on that now and make money later. Check out the pinned comment. to get signed up to Underdog Fantasy. The third player that we are avoiding is America's wide receiver, I'd say. We all love this name, but I think there are cheaper options. Puka Nacua. Don't draft Puka Nacua. Draft Cooper Kupp. If you look at their average ADP, Puka Nacua is a first-round pick, locked and loaded. He's either the 109 to the 112, somewhere in that area. Meanwhile, Cooper Kupp is going mid-round 4 right now. And if you look at when Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp, that trio, if you look at when they were all healthy last year, which was 11 total games, weeks 5 to 8 and weeks 11 to 17, in that time span, you can see they're giving you a similar points per game outcome. Cooper Kupp, 14.3 points per game, and Puka Nacua at 16.5, meaning Puka gave you an advantage of 2.2 PPR points per game. To me, that's not worth drafting him, 3 rounds earlier than Cooper Kupp. And if you look at the wide receiver 7 and wide receiver 22 last year, which is where these two guys are being drafted, there was a difference of 3.5 PPR points per game. As much as I love Puka, I don't think you're getting the advantage that you think you're getting when you're drafting him in round 1 versus Cooper Kupp all the way in round 4. So you extrapolate these guys, you extrapolate those numbers over the course of a 17-game season, Cooper Kupp is going to be one of the steals of the draft, in my opinion. All right, the fourth player that we are not drafting, we're going to avoid. We love him. Again, we love all these guys, but Sam Laporta is going too high. Instead of drafting Sam Laporta, take Trey McBride, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, or even really late Evan Ingram. Love the player, best rookie tight end season ever, but he's way too expensive. He's a lock. Laporta is a lock for a top 5 finish, but you're not getting the advantage of the tight end 1 that you're used to. In the past, 5, 6, 7 years, we're used to taking Travis Kelce as a tight end 1, knowing he's going to give you 16, 17, 18, 19 points per game. That's not what you're getting with Sam Laporta, but the price is too expensive for Sam Laporta. Right now, Sam Laporta is an early 3rd round pick. Sometimes he's going 2nd round, but you can get Trey McBride late 4th, early 5th. Same with Mark Andrews. Dalton Kincaid is mid 5th to early 6th. Kyle Pitts in the 6th round. George Kittle in the 6th round. Evan Ingram sometimes in the 6th or 7th round. Sam Laporta is just a little bit overpriced. I mean, Sam Laporta's tight end 1 season last year was the lowest points per game from a tight end 1 finish since 2016. 7 years since we've had a tight end 1 with this low amount of points per game. If you look at the last 20 seasons, Laporta put up the 3rd lowest points per game finish from a tight end 1 in that span. Only Travis Kelce in 2016 and Antonio Gates in 2006 had lower points per game finishes from a tight end 1 in fantasy football. And on a points per game basis last year, Sam Laporta wasn't even the tight end 1, but you're taking him multiple rounds ahead of these other options. I could see plenty of tight ends finishing as a tight end 1 this year. The floodgates are open. It's never been more of an open conversation than it is this year. Laporta, Kelce, McBride, Andrews, Kincaid, Pitts, all those guys I think have a legit shot of finishing as a tight end 1 or the tight end 1 this year. So I hate to say it, but I'd rather draft other guys and build my team in a different way. And the last one today is I'm avoiding Zay Flowers, and instead I'm drafting Deontay Johnson. I love Zay Flowers, great player, but at the moment, Zay Flowers is going as a wide receiver 25, early round 5. Deontay Johnson is a wide receiver 42, which is mid to late round 8. You need to take Zay Flowers 40 picks before Deontay Johnson, 3.5 rounds earlier. And Zay was great in spurts last year, but the spurts where he was great, we also had no Mark Andrews. Look at the splits with and without Mark Andrews. With Mark Andrews, 11 points per game in PPR. Without Mark Andrews, that number spiked up to 17.4. Meanwhile, you got Bryce Young, who in the last decade, only 7 out of 24 rookie quarterbacks who started year 1 have produced a top 24 wide receiver finish, 29%. Bryce Young is one of those 7 quarterbacks who helped Adam Thielen last year finish as a wide receiver 17. Bryce Young can produce a top 24 finish. We just saw it last year with the ghost of Adam Thielen. Of course, Deontay Johnson can finish top 24. He's averaged 8.3 targets per game in his 5-year career. Deontay is going to feast on targets. He will be the number 1 weapon in this offense, and you get to take him, 40 picks behind Zay Flowers? It just doesn't make sense to me. I think Mark Andrews is the number 1 in Baltimore. Deontay is the number 1 in Carolina. Clearly, Baltimore's a better offense, but the price is just way too far apart in my opinion. So those are the players I'm avoiding and giving you alternate options instead. Let me know what you think. What do you think about these takes? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like the video, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. All love. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.